Merrily, Kiss the Quaker. I know this tune from the playing of Micheál O'Sullivan, the late great piano player that was so involved in the establishment of the World Music Centre at the University of Limerick. And I remember as a young kid hearing Micheál O'Sullivan playing this with Mel Mercier on Bowron and Bones, and it was one of those moments, extremely inspirational and incredible music. So I'm going to play the tune very slowly through one time, and then I'm going to play it through and discuss some of the issues that you might come in to as you're playing this tune, and we'll try and work on those. So here is the basic notation for Merrily, Kiss the Quaker. So you can go ahead and loop just those parts and learn them off. That's the very basic and simple version. So let's talk a little bit about the tune itself as we're playing it. There's not too many issues in the first part really, or anything to bring attention to. It's a fairly straightforward piece of music. When we get to the second part, we want to think about creating resonance by keeping the G note on with our fourth finger or our ring finger. So that G note can be held on almost through the entire second part, and that's what creates that nice resonance and that ring through of the G note. So the third part is where there is some interesting fingering work required, because we're going up to the high B. Now, of course, you can play this in the normal, we'll call it normal fashion, which is to stretch using your middle finger for the G. So that's third finger, or middle finger, ring finger, pinky, obviously for the high B. Now, if you struggle with the stretch to the high B, as I do, admittedly, this is an opportunity to change positions. So we're going to straight away bring the index finger up onto the B, onto the G note, and then we're going to run up. I'll still use my pinky for the B, but because I'm stretching, I just find it easier to stretch from middle finger to pinky than from ring to pinky. That it just is more comfortable. So you're going to switch positions straight away, which is to bring your entire hand up those 2 bars. Now you are switching down so you can get the D, B, D. So it's a little switch. Now this is the important part, really, because if you are switching up, you need to switch back down. And when do you do that? When do you move the hand down? And in this riff of notes, you're going to come across an F sharp. And if you don't move your 4th finger, your ring finger, back down to that high A at that point, you won't have a note or a finger for the F sharp, or you'll end up trying to slide this one down, which isn't as nice. So when you go for that high B on the 2nd time round, then you're going to stretch and put the 4th finger, your ring finger, on the A. And then you're back in standard position. Or you can do a little switcheroo, which is switch from the middle finger to the 4th. Or slide. So there's just a little bit to play around with in that 3rd part of where do you put your fingers so that you can comfortably get up to the high B and then switch back down again. I'd be curious if you start to play it with switching up, what happens when that F sharp comes along? Are you up? Are you already on that index finger and have to slide? And if that's the case, maybe look and see, can you get your ring finger on somewhere just before that happens? There is an A coming off that B. And does the switch happen from the B to the A, or does it happen from the G to the F? I hope that makes sense. I think when you start to play the tune, you're going to come across those fingering situations. And you'll probably find that one of those options is easier for you than the other. So I'd be very curious to find out how that worked out. So that is the very basic version of Merrily, Kiss the Quaker.